us about what the Bloomberg tracker is showing us for expectations around production this week.
Well, Dan and I were just talking, and the point that we were discussing was how quickly things change, where for so long it felt like everybody was all eyes on the production numbers out of Tesla, and how quickly it's changed to everyone's attention is on the delivery figures. And the reason for that is the company has seemed to sort of overcome the production bottlenecks that they refer to. Elon Musk has very famously referred to manufacturing hell, and he's now sort of in a different predicament where it's not so much issues with manufacturing a lot of cars as evidenced by this tracker, which has been pretty on point for some time now. It's really a matter of deliveries and demand and delivery logistics, as Musk has put it, where there are some real concerns about with Model 3 starting deliveries to Europe and China this quarter, that those vehicles in particular may have been held up. In China, you had a labeling issue. In Europe, you've had some hang-ups as well, and that there may be sort of a problem on the delivery side that sort of may suggest either issues with demand or, depending on your perspective, just a problem of just sort of short-term snafus with getting cars into the hands of customers.
So, Dan, what are your expectations around production and perhaps then more importantly, deliveries?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's gone from a production to a demand story. And fundamentally, 1Q, we continue to view as what we're calling an air pocket quarter, just because we believe there's anywhere from 10 to 15,000 Model 3s in transit, specifically in Europe. So the question is, did those actually get to the customers in time, or do they sort of cross over into 2Q? I think what the street's really going to be focused on is obviously the delivery number, but just any sort of tea leaves about what we're seeing in terms of the in-transit number and as well as 2Q. Production continues to be, as we've talked about with our visits to Giga and Fremont, I think production is obviously ramping to a point we feel very comfortable with. It's now more of a demand story, and that's why right now the street's glass half empty. The shorts are winning this round. The question is this week, is that a tide turner? And we continue to think second half of the year, demand looks a lot stronger, but this is sort of a white knuckle period going into this 1Q.
Do you have concerns about international deliveries? Because Musk has said that some 10,000 cars could be held up in customs, held up in transit, which could have a big impact on those final numbers.
Well, yeah, and it really came down to Model 3s hit the port in Belgium in kind of mid to third week in February. Those need to hit customer driveways by March 31st. So the question is, did those actually get recognized as revenue? We believe those are really the issues that investors are focused on in terms of how many cars have shifted over from 1Q to 2Q. That's why right now, Europe Model 3 is key to the demand in the first half of the year. Obviously, U.S. is soft, and that's where second half really needs to come back with the lower price Model 3.
So, Craig, meantime, it is April Fool's Day. It is a day when Elon Musk historically makes a joke, but he's now facing this suit with the SEC trying to get a judge to hold him in contempt for not being careful enough with his tweets after striking an agreement to be more careful with his tweets. Have we heard anything from Musk today? Any jokes?
I'm going to knock on the table and say that he's been on his best behavior thus far today. He's had a few posts here and there, an interesting one this afternoon where he praised security researchers' findings of some flaws with autopilot and said that they did good work. Interestingly, some of that work included putting markings on the road to sort of trick autopilot to potentially go into the other lane of traffic that's going in the other direction, which sounds pretty scary. Tesla sort of downplayed those findings, but it was interesting to see Musk on his Twitter feed actually sort of praise the work that was done by that group. But he had an eventful weekend, but so far so good. And I guess we're now after the close here, so we just have a few more hours for him to behave himself and not get into further trouble with the SEC.